Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on SmackDown, NXT, and Superstars. And as always, some dirt sheet news and some injury updates and what have you. And that's my dog coughing in the background. Okay, everybody knows by now Beth Phoenix injured, supposedly herself, and sprained her left ankle, according to the WWE website. She will still undergo an MRI, which will reveal the extent of the injury. She injured the ankle during the Raw match for the title against Nikki Bella, who is now the WWE Divas Champion. To read the full update, visit WWE.com. It's possible there's more damage, though WWE's trainer believes it's a common ligament sprain, and they'll pass along any additional info once it's released. Beth Phoenix's ankle injury is not legit, according to sources. It is not legitimate, according to a pair of sources, rather than she was selling the ankle injury just instead of dropping the Divas Championship to Nikki Bella, whose contract actually is over with on the 29th. If the backstage reports are accurate, then Beth deserves a major props for the way she sold the injury. Meanwhile, there are rumors within WWE that Karma will return next week, so one can only assume that she would take out both Bella twins, which could explain their departure, assuming they don't re-sign before their contracts expire next week. Sad news happening, actually, it was on Monday. I found out from another site, Ringside News. A guy read more into the Buff Bagwell traffic accident, overturning 8 to 10 times, and he was hospitalized with a broken neck, and he is in intensive care, according to UCW Indie Promotions Twitter page. You can view their listing at twitter.com/UCWTV. I have not been able to independently confirm the news. I'm just merely passing along what the promotion has put out there themselves. Thanks to .net reader Andy Long, attending Monday's Raw in Detroit, Michigan, sent the following report from what happened after Raw and what his view of everything that happened on Raw and Superstars taped matches. The only area blacked out was behind the stage and near the hard TV camera. Thus, they said the show was sold out. The announce team came out, and Lillian Garcia sang the national anthem. A great pop for Edge. I always like surprises and good promo. I'm a little tired of John Cena's shtick. I'm not saying he needs a heel turn, but something new. If a losing streak is going to help him in the near future, then maybe that's okay storyline. Listening to John Laryngitis is like hearing fingernails across a chalkboard. You can't hear him in the back, and you can't hear him in the ring. Kofi Kingston versus Chris Jericho was a great match. Nothing like a top rope code breaker. The CM Punk vignette was great, from the liquor basket to the locker room shenanigans to the field sobriety test classic. Lord Tensai versus R-Truth. They went for a bathroom break, so they didn't comment on that. And they said they knew it was going to happen in that match. The Kane promo was okay. Randy Orton coming out was cool. Kane ran past the area where the reporter was sitting, which was pretty cool. Big Show and Khali versus Cody Rhodes and Alberto Del Rio. It was an okay match. He's still tired of watching Khali wrestle. He can't barely move. Well, thus, he was selling his injury that he got on SmackDown. Then Brock Lesnar finally arrived. It was nice to see Josh Matthews taking a nice bump. Beth Phoenix versus Nikki Bella match. The one thing that the reporter missed was Beth jumping onto the ring apron, but you could immediately tell she was in a bad spot. The ref did not hold up the X sign, but it was kind of a rough match after that. The trainer came out after the twins exited. You could tell she was upset. As I was leaving the arena, walking past the tour buses and parking area for the superstars, there was an ambulance leaving with its lights on. I don't know if Beth was in it to get the MRI or not. Best wishes to Beth on a speedy recovery. Punk field sobriety test was an awesome segment. Something told me to enjoy it. Once the officers left, he did the test again and finally got some offense. After a couple of weeks of beers and booze spots, I was sitting in the back of the guy with a Chet sign, and he held up a sign about CM Punk's family. One of the WWE stage hands came over and asked him to take it down, or he will take it from him. I was fine with the WWE doing that, even though I missed the Attitude Era. Sheamus Mark Henry with Daniel Bryan as special ref. First of all, the Borgasm chant is unbelievable. It is so annoying, yet so funny that everybody has joined the Borgasm world. As Bryan was set up at the top of the ramp, everybody in unison, all 16,000 people chanted, yes, yes, yes. Weird also, I hope they steal the show at Extreme Rules. Epico and Primo versus Zack Ryder and Santino Marella was an okay match. Didn't even know we had tag team champions in the WWE anymore. It's kind of a bad joke with all the history. Huge pop for Santino. Ryder is still getting an okay pop. Brothers playing Hornswoggle versus Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler. Gimmick match. Hornswoggle biting Vicky Guerrero was funny. It's weird that with the PG version of the WWE that it's half PG, half R based on some language. Not saying any names, but certain wrestlers get the green light to do whatever they want. It's like they have been pushing limits, but not going over the top. Brock and Johnny Ace, or John Laurinaitis segment, ran a little long. But I was thinking if he is only doing 2 Raws a month per contract, I think, maybe that is why he started making these demands in this interview. Will he will show up when he wants? Who knows? But the ending to me and a lot of the people in the area really felt flat. You thought something was going to happen, but then the crowd just kind of went, well, that kind of stunk. Brock note number 1. Every commercial break or cut-in included the shoot interview from last week. It was cool, but seeing it like 10 times in 3 hours was way too much. Everything good happens when the cameras go off the air. Dark match. CM Punk and John Cena defeated Kane and Chris Jericho. Kane had some offense. He tagged in Cena. Same old stuff. Attitude adjustment and GTS on the heels to set up the faces winning. Then the Cena birthday party followed. And you can see the main page or whatever. And they called it the Raw Holiday Live Tour at Joe Louis Arena, December 26th. 2012 was advertised for the returning event. And they said the biggest pop of the night was Edge, Punk and Santino, biggest heat, Y2J, Kane and Lesnar towards the end. I hope it's free reign at Extreme Rules like the old days with some good hardcore matches. Jason, I hope this has helped you receive a lot of these trip reports. I hope it helps. We'll have a trip report from Extreme Rules 2. Andy Long attended Monday's Raw, and this is his opinion of the show. After the dark match main event, CM Punk grabbed the mic. The chairman of the board's music played, and out he comes with his power walk. Brought the entire Raw roster out. Triple H's music played, and Punk and Triple H talked back and forth to each other. Funny, the Joe and everybody on the stage sang happy birthday to John Cena. The Great Khali bit was funny too. Then the Divas came down for kisses and hugs. Hornswoggle came down and hugged Cena. there was a diva dog pile on Cena. Incredible. He said in his Vince voice, Cena came out of the ring, gave a noogie to Michael Cole, and then everybody started heading to the back to conclude the show. Okay, that was it for Monday Raw Dark Match. Ring of Honor issued a press release on Monday to announce that Lance Storm versus the Prodigy Mike Bennett has been officially added to the Border Wars event. The show takes place on May the 12th in Toronto, Ontario, and will be available via online pay-per-view. To read the official announcement, visit ROHWrestling.com. WWE wrestler David Otunga was not at the Raw show because he was with his fiancée, Jennifer Hudson, who testified at the trial against William Balfour, who was accused of murdering mother, brother, and nephew. You can read more on the story at eonline.com/news/Jennifer Hudson surprises everyone. /310834. And that news, thanks to Roger Eckhurst for passing that along. In Your Head Radio with New Jack, formerly of ECW, and hosted by Jack E. Jones and 1 Inch Biceps. I guess that's his nickname. Show available at IYHWrestling.com. He comments on several different things. He opens the show by talking about an appearance on a Rival Wrestling Radio show the previous night and what a couple of marks hosted it. He talked about one of the guys on the show identifying himself as indie professional wrestler, and he had no respect for most indie wrestlers because they don't train like they should. He said that he was one of the few wrestlers who never went to a major fed and made a name for himself, even though it wasn't the greatest one in the world, that the people either appreciated him for being hardcore or would never consider getting in the ring with him. New Jack then talked of the big Extreme Reunion show on April 28th. It's coming up this week, managing to mention ECW 12 times, even though he said he wasn't supposed to. He talked about how he was in better shape for this show than he has been in his whole life, and that it was like looking forward to a family reunion. Jackie pointed out that the most of the seats for Extreme Reunion were gone, and New Jack talked about that this was proof of how all the experts who said that nobody wants to see these guys anymore were full of crap. New Jack then hit a few topics in rapid succession, such as Balls Mahoney. He says Balls has legit heat with him for insulting Balls with women and for posting a video where Balls threw up on some fans. He also told an interesting story involving Balls and a ring rat, and why he no longer will wrestle a match with someone who bleeds. Okay, he comments on Tammy's hitch. New Jack said that, yes, Tammy tried to get him to kill her cop boyfriend. And then he comments on Marlena, whose real name is Terry Reynolds. New Jack said that he did have an affair with Marlena, but he had no intention of distributing any pictures because he couldn't imagine anyone wanting to see them. Then there's comments on Mustafa. New Jack said that he and Mustafa are cool, and he's looking forward to working with him at Extreme Reunion. Then he comments on Abdullah the Butcher. New Jack said that he and Abdullah are cool, even though Abdullah started a false rumor about New Jack having HIV. Bubba the Love Sponge. He says that this was a great story. New Jack told that he went on Bubba's radio show, but was afraid it was set up because Bubba wanted to get back at him for knocking out Brian Knobbs, who was a friend of Bubba and Hulk Hogan. Bubba brought up the New Jack stabbing William Jason Lane, and New Jack pulled out a knife during the interview after the New Jack said Bubba got really humble. Any comments about Mass Transit? New Jack said that after the match, Mass Transit asked him if he thought he had job, and New Jack said had told him that if he didn't bleed to death, he might. Any comments on William Jason Lane? New Jack, who didn't mention Lane's name, said he had stabbed Lane because Lane punched New Jack in the face twice, and he had been doing cocaine and drinking. New Jack then went back to the topic of the Extreme Reunion show. Jackie asked New Jack who he thought the old wrestlers from ECW were remembered so fondly. New Jack said it was because the ECW guys had fun and the fans really cared for the wrestlers. New Jack said not to expect what people saw in ECW for Extreme Reunion, but to expect to see the personalities you saw. He said that the wrestlers may be a little slower and less agile, but the people in Philadelphia would sell out a building to watch the old ECW wrestlers eat ice cream because they knew that they would put on a good show. When asked if he would stick around for a long term if this show leads to a new promotion, New Jack said he would stick around to help the younger guys because there was a real problem today with guys who can wrestle but can't cut a promo to save their lives. New Jack then addressed the internet fans who think he is some kind of thug by saying he basically leads a normal life and to not judge him because you don't know him. Jackie then took a call from Noel in Philadelphia who said that he would be at Extreme Reunion. New Jack told him to find him during the event and that he would take a picture with him and Noel dropping the pants together. New Jack said that Noel was an example of the kind of fans that he has created and that he embraces them and he has a good time with them. The interview ended at that point. Jackie thanked New Jack for being on the show. And then they plugged the website extremereunion.net. For more info, you can go to that. Ted DiBiase Jr. was at Batson Children's Hospital in Mississippi recently shooting a documentary on his career when he met a family with a 10-month-old boy who had a rare disease that could lead to seizures and autism. DiBiase met with the family and led them in prayer for their son. And you can read the full story at tmz.com/2012 /04 /22 /Ted DiBiase Jr. WWE Hospital documentary video. And what everybody's been waiting for, dark match prior to SmackDown tapings. Again, you have Dean Ambrose, John Moxley is his real name, defeating Josh Shields, probably just a jobber in the local area, in the dark match in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Thanks to PW Torch correspondent Michael E. And for your NXT spoilers, they just give the basic match results. Derek Bateman, which I thought was eliminated and released from WWE, defeated JTG. Match number 2, Tamina and Caitlyn defeated Maxine and Natalia. Match number 3, Tyson Kidd beat Johnny Curtis. And your superstars for Thursday, 4/26, Hunico and Camacho beat the Usos. SmackDown for this Friday opens up with Daniel Bryan cutting a promo. He walks out, getting rid of AJ and his guest referee job on Raw. Alberto Del Rio interrupted and said he would be the next world champion after Extreme Rules. Big Show interrupted and cleared both men from the ring. They then chokeslammed Ricardo Rodriguez. Match number 1, Alberto Del Rio beat IC champion Big Show in a non-title match. Del Rio won by Cody Rhodes' interference from the outside. Okay, then they had another Damien Sandow talking on screen about the age of enlightenment. Match number 2, New Divas champion Nikki Bella defeated Alicia Fox after Twin Magic. Number 3 was Darren Young and Titus O'Neil defeating Yoshitatsu and Ezekiel Jackson. Michael Cole then interviewed Randy Orton about his rivalry with Kane ahead of Extreme Rules, in which Jinder Mahal then interfered and ate an RKO for his efforts. Match number 4, Antonio Cesaro, formerly known as Claudio Castagnoli from Ring of Honor, defeated Tyson Kidd in a tryout match. A tryout match on SmackDown. Let's see how that airs. Match number 5, Great Khali defeated Cody Rhodes. Match number 6, Ryback, another squash match with a local wrestler named Jacob K. And then they recapped AJ attacking Natalya last week after D. Bryan dumped her. And match number 7, World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus defeated Mark Henry in a non-title match. That ended the SmackDown taping. No appearance by Christian, who was advertised. After the SmackDown taping, they set up a bonus dark match for the live crowd, which was none other than Randy Orton and Big Show defeating Daniel Bryan and Cody Rhodes. Nothing else said about it, and that ends my video for this week. Spoilers. Stay tuned for the results after Extreme Rules pay-per-view this Sunday.